Welcome to this edition of Peak Performers Podcast with your host, Thor Conklin. Thor will be sharing the necessary tools, strategies, and psychology you'll need to become a peak performer in any area of your life or business.
Welcome to another episode of Peak Performers Podcast. This is episode 3. Figure out what you want. This is the first step in the ultimate success map. I can't stress enough how important it is for you to figure out what you want. Yesterday afternoon, I received an email that just kind of set me off. It was one of those emails that just kind of got under my skin, and I immediately started to send back a reply. And I knew that before I sent it, I just needed someone else's opinion. So my girlfriend was here, and I said, would you take a look at this email before I send it? I want to make sure that I'm not going to blow something up here. And she's like, no, you can't send that email. I said, fine. Okay, so I retyped another version. I said, how about this? She kind of shook her head. No, you can't send that one either. I'm like, come on. I want to send something that sends a strong message. Okay, this person is not going to get the last word on this particular topic. She said, well, what are you after? What's your objective? I'm like, well, one, I wanted to have the last word. Very mature of me. And I wanted to send a strong message. And she goes, no. What do you really want here? So I kind of went through a couple things, and she goes, no, you're missing the point. What do you want? Figure out what you want. And I'm like, oh no, you're not going to start using my stuff on me, are you? So I got up and I went over to the kitchen and I just took a deep breath. I said, okay, what do I really want here in a universal way? And let me explain this. So in my life, the way I organize my goals, my objectives, and my outcomes is based on what I call my areas of life, or my AOLs. Each year around December or January, I head down to the beach for 3 days and I do my annual planning. And what I do is I look at my life, what's happened in the last year, where I want to go in the next year, and I figure out in different areas of my life what's important, what I want to achieve. It starts off with a universal or overall objective. What am I trying to create for my life? What is the vision of my life? And then my life is made up of different components. So right now I have 9 areas of life. One is me time, taking care of myself. Another one is my businesses, my health and fitness, my finances, my kids, and 101 things I'd like to achieve and do before I die. In each of these areas, there's an overall objective, there's an outcome, and I figured out what I want to achieve in each of these areas. Whenever I sit down and I'm looking at my health and fitness, for example, I'm making sure that the objectives, I don't know what this objections is, objectives are for this particular area of my life. And I've got to make sure that it also fits in with and is complementary to my businesses and me time and my kids and me being a better man. And if there's any conflicts there, I'm not going to put in the energy and the time and the necessary effort that's needed. Even if I think I'm doing this consciously, subconsciously, I'm going to be holding back because I know that there's a conflict with something. I have objectives in each one of those areas. Well, if I've got to work 80 hours a week to meet my financial goals, I know that's going to run in conflict with my time with my kids, me becoming a better man, spending time with myself and growing as an individual. My health and fitness goals will be affected. It's extremely important that all of them fit together. And in this particular case with this email last night is I had to sit back and say, okay, what do I really want? Yes, I really want to fire off a nasty reply to this email. But overall, what do I want to accomplish with my kids? And in this particular case, it involved my son. And I said, my objective in this area and my relationship with my son is I want an amazing relationship, and I want to have the ability to affect and produce an amazing young man. And by me sending this email to this other person, that was not going to support me. It was not going to get me closer to my objective with my son. And I realized at that point that the right thing to do, because I wasn't focused on just this particular issue, I was focused on the bigger picture, was to send an email that did not incite an argument or some sort of mini war or battle. You need to become crystal clear on what you want in each area of your life and for your overall life as well. These need to be written. They need to be specific. They need to be measurable. They need to be obtainable. And they need to have a time stamp to them as well. SMART goals. I'm not a big fan of the R or realistic portion. If you want to be unrealistic, be unrealistic. After you put down on paper what you want, motive does matter. List out why these things are important for you to accomplish. In the case with my son, I know exactly why I want to accomplish the outcome and goals I have in that category. I know why that relationship is important to me. I know what I want to accomplish and why I will do it. So motive matters. Make sure that you have that listed. That is the fuel that will drive you through to the end. Please do not skip over this section or take this section lightly. Figuring out what you want is paramount. It is the start of everything. On my desk here at my home office and also at work, I have a brass compass that sits on my desk. And it's there to remind me of where I'm going. And it's easy to get off track from day to day. There's all kinds of things that come into our lives that take us off our objective. But when I see that compass on the desk, it reminds me that I'm headed in a direction. And even though I may get off course from time to time, I'm headed in that one direction towards that goal, towards that outcome. And if you haven't taken the time to figure out exactly what you want at a deep level, at a core level, and you simply said, I want X dollars, I want this kind of relationship, I want this kind of car, and all those things are great. But if you haven't taken the time to really truly figure out exactly what that looks like and how it fits in with the rest of your life, you may just find yourself arriving at your destination realizing that that's not where you intended to go. It happens over and over again, and I don't want that to happen to you. As I've promised in the past, these podcasts are going to be short, sweet, and to the point. They're meant to be listened while you're working out or on your way to work and not taking up additional time. You should be doing these while you're doing something else. If you have to pause the broadcast to make a note, do so. Question of the day. What do you want? What do you want from your life? What do you want from each of the categories within your life? What does that look like? Call to action. Do not put this process off. If you spend another day not understanding where you're going and what you want, all you're doing is simply driving with no destination. Take the time and do this exercise. And I highly, highly recommend doing this in a quiet area, whether you like music, get in a great state, and tune the rest of the world out. Do not have your phone next to you. You do not want any distractions while you're doing this. Thank you again for listening. I really do appreciate it. And hopefully you're finding these podcasts to be helpful. If you have not already done so, please go to iTunes and subscribe. If you like the content that you've listened to, please leave a 5-star rating. Also, share this episode and the other episodes with your friends, family, coworkers, or anyone that could benefit from the information contained herein. You can also follow me on Facebook at Thor Conklin, Twitter at Thor Conklin, website thorconklin.com. On the website, you're going to see additional information, tools, resources, tips, and tricks. You can also sign up for our newsletter, which will contain valuable information and insights on how to become a peak performer. If you have any questions, you can send them to info@thorconklin.com. Decide to be a peak performer in all that you do. Until tomorrow, have an absolutely amazing day.